Happy Sunday, and coming up on Fox 4 News at 10, I'm going to be tracking your rain chances for the rest of the week.
Hey, I'll come back for him. Come on.
Scary video there as firefighters working around the clock to contain a brush fire that's causing evacuations throughout Bonita Springs. What the Forest Service says helped crews fighting that fire today. Plus, Fox 4 was at the Dunbar Easter Festival and Parade to see how the Southwest Florida community celebrated Easter today.
Live from Southwest Florida, you're watching Fox 4 News at 10.
Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us for Fox 4 News on this Easter Sunday. I'm Elise Chingieri. We will get to all of those celebrations held for the holiday throughout Southwest Florida in just a moment. But first, we want to get right to your weather. Let's take a live look there from the Luminary Hotel there in downtown Fort Myers. Drastically different conditions now as we've experienced throughout the day. Let's bring in our Fox 4 meteorologist, Andrew Shipley. Andrew, a lot of people holding events outside. We were a little bit nervous about that rain.
Yeah, we were. And looks like you did be at the Dunbar Parade through okay, but some of us got some decent rain. We're still even tracking a little bit of rain showers out there right up along the Henry Collier County line. A little bit of light showers continuing out there tonight. Also, you can see those thunderstorms offshore of Sanibel at this hour as well. But check out some of these rainfall totals that we had today. Down up along Alligator Alley, close to 3 inches worth of rain. That's nice to see, right? Especially right over that wildfire is burning still. Here at Fort Myers, less than an inch, but you get up towards Port Charlotte, Punta Gorda, record rainfall today, and obviously that's great news for a continuing drought. Still critically dry out there heading in towards today. Lee County extremely dry, so this is obviously very beneficial, and we're going to be looking at more rain chances as we get in towards tomorrow afternoon. I'll break down how much rain we can see, and what about the rain chances the rest of the week. We'll time that all out for you coming up in just a few minutes.
Andrew, thank you so much. So tonight we want to give you an update on that brush fire that we first reported on yesterday over in Bonita Springs. So here's a live look. We know that fire is still burning off of I-75. The Florida Forest Service says they're working to contain the 25-acre brush fire. Again, it broke out yesterday. The fire caused the highway to shut down for hours. All lanes opened up later on last night, and visibility, well, as you saw there, it's a little bit better tonight, of course, as it was compared to yesterday. Now, that fire impacted at least 3 homes, crews working around the clock to contain that fire, but also to get people to safety as that fire crept towards their homes.
Hey, I'll come back for him. Come on.
I mean, that video explains it right there of what people were experiencing. At this time, the Florida Forest Service says the fire is 90% contained. It's estimated to be around 25 acres in size. The cause of that fire is still unknown. Meanwhile, we here at Fox 4 continue to stay on top of another fire over in Collier County, where the brush fire in the Big Cypress National Preserve is now covering 9,742 acres. Take a look at this. Now, this is being called the Cypress Camp Trail fire, and although it has grown over the weekend, fire crews now say the fire is 67% contained. Officials say you should expect to see some smoke throughout that area, of course, while traveling along I-75. FHP reminding you tonight that you need to be cautious while driving through that area because of all of that smoke. Make sure you use your low beams, defrosters, and turn signals to prevent any traffic issues. And tonight, Fox 4 is learning more about a fatal crash that happened in Hendry County. It happened around 5 o'clock this morning, as Florida Highway Patrol says one man was driving on US 27 near Sky Valley Lane when the car drove into a canal and flipped over. The driver was the only one involved in that crash. The crash is still under investigation tonight. And this week, we're recognizing people who work as public safety telecommunicators. So this includes dispatchers and 911 operators. So they work 24/7 to make sure first responders get to your calls in time to, of course, save lives. National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week started back in 1981. Former President Bill Clinton officially declared the week a national week of recognition back in 1994. Now, if you know an operator or a dispatcher, make sure you give them a big thank you this week. Well, tonight people headed over to Dunbar to celebrate Easter together as the annual Easter parade brought, of course, huge crowds and plenty of candy and floats along with it. It also brought out your very own Fox 4 crew. Take a look. So, of course, you saw myself there along with my coworkers there, some on-air talent that you may recognize and some people who work there hard behind the scenes, including our general manager, our news director, and people in sales and promotions. Now, Fox 4 also spoke with a pastor who was at the parade with some members of his congregation, as he says this event is just special each and every year. Of course, it's the 79th year this has been taking place.
So happy to be a part of this community and a part of this amazing event today. We were told on this, my first day of pastoring, that this event was a must-see. And it's just to see the community come together in a spirit of joy. It's a diverse gathering. It's a gathering of peace, and we're just excited to be a part of it.
We had such a wonderful time out there today. Now, this event has been going on for years. It started back in 1945. The parade began at 3 o'clock today. And of course, there was that festival that followed after it until 8 p.m. Again, the annual event taking place for the 79th year. It was free to the public. And guess what? If you missed this year's parade, well, you can always catch next year's. We know that'll be the 80th year. So we'll have to wait and see what that has in store for us next year. Andrew?
If you're going to get on the boat tomorrow, we're looking at seas 2 to 3 feet, moderate chop out there. Also, going to be watching afternoon showers and storms. A time it out for you coming up.
Welcome back. So members of the Biden administration are defending the White House's review of the withdrawal of American troops from Afghanistan nearly 2 years ago. The report admits that the evacuation should have started, well, much sooner. The withdrawal, which lasted from May to August 2021, was violent, and critics of the administration's decision say abandoning that Bagram Air Base in July of 2021 was a mistake that ultimately led to one ISIS prisoner being freed and carrying out a deadly suicide bombing in August. that killed 13 service members and 170 Afghan citizens.
It's weakened us on the global stage, and I think it's high time we change the way we're addressing these issues across the world.
I believe the way that it happened and the 13 soldiers' lives were lost was one of the saddest moments for me of his administration.
So some lawmakers, like the ones that you just heard from, say they wanted to keep U.S. forces in Afghanistan because of its borders with China. And tonight, new warnings from top defense officials about China's military ambitions. Well, China has launched 3 days of military exercises around Taiwan. The dramatic display of force comes days after Taiwan's president met House Speaker Kevin McCarthy over in California, despite repeated threats from Beijing. So China says the drills are meant to be, quote, a serious warning against the Taiwan separatist forces, who it claims are colluding with external forces. While Taiwan considers itself a self-governing democracy, China claims the island as its own. It has not ruled out using military force to occupy Taiwan. Well, it's time to bring in Fox 4 meteorologist Andrew Shipley. I know, Andrew, we were talking about that Dunbar parade earlier. It was so much fun, but we were definitely keeping an eye on those clouds to see if that rain would be coming in anytime soon. And I know us here in Florida, we really need that rain.
We really do. And some of us got some really good rain today. In fact, Punta Gorda Airport broke the daily rainfall record today, got 2.29 inches of rain, breaking that old record from 1984 there by about a whole inch there. But other spots like Charlotte Harbor, just over an inch and a half, as well as Lehigh, Northport, about half an inch of rain. Now, not everybody, but got a lot of rain. Downtown Fort Myers, only 0.06 of an inch, but hey, it's rain, we'll take it. It's still got a little bit of shower activity out there tonight. Most of that's kind of fizzling out there just around Henry, Collier County line as it continues to drift off to the south. Can't rule out a few stray showers here tonight on Alligator Alley. Also offshore, thunderstorm continues to get going there just off of Sanibel, but not raining over us. But in terms of the night here, we do expect temperatures to slow to cool here to the upper 60s over the next couple hours, but I think about 68 degrees is going to be that bottom out mark for us here tonight. Partly cloudy skies. As for temperatures for your Monday, high about 84 degrees for you there at Fort Myers, Cape Coral, and down in Naples. How about 81 Punta Gorda? Get inland, 79 degrees, those highs there. Moorhaven and Clewiston with northeast winds about 10 to 15. Could see some gusts in the afternoon up to about 25 miles an hour. So I do expect a breezier day for you. Now, as for rain tomorrow, well, it should be dry in the morning hours, but as you roll into the afternoon, you are going to start to notice some shower activity building up along the coastline here as we roll into about 3, 4 o'clock. So I do expect most of the shower activity to be localized more to the coastline for you tomorrow afternoon. You can see some of those showers and storms continuing in towards the evening hours, and then once the sun sets, things should taper down here for you. But as for rainfall totals tomorrow, I'm looking at upwards of about an inch for portions of the coastline, which is, again, great news because this is where we do need the rain. Still, even with the rain today and that record rainfall in Punta Gorda, we're about 4 or 5 inches still below normal since the start of the year. Obviously, we can knock that out pretty quickly if we're getting about an inch of rain each and every day, and we're going to be seeing that, again, that chance there tomorrow. Now, only 30% chance Tuesday, drops down a little bit, but still a chance for a few isolated showers, and then picks back up as the week moves on. 50% Wednesday, 60 Thursday, as well as 50% there on Friday. But what's going on here is we've got an area of low pressure looks to form in the Gulf of Mexico, and as that moves off to the north, it is going to drag a frontal boundary through the area as later in the week, and that's going to bring us that better chance of rain again Thursday as that pushes on through. Now, in the meantime, it's also going to bring in a little cooler temperatures. Check out the 7-day forecast. You can see we're getting down below normal temperatures. Normal this time of year is 84, so that's what we're seeing tomorrow, but be right around that mark as we move through the middle of the week, and then next weekend starts to warm things back up right near 90 degrees for your Saturday and Sunday.
Welcome back. Well, the Mega Millions jackpot grows bigger after no winner turned up on Friday night. The huge jackpot has now grown to $414 million after Friday's drawings failed to produce any winners. So far, only 4 Mega Millions jackpots were won this year. One of those was the game's second highest prize ever given, totaling more than $1.3 billion. So the next Mega Millions drawing is coming up this Tuesday night. I'm sure a lot of stores will be busy selling those tickets. Well, still ahead, we're breaking down the latest reaction to a Texas judge's ruling on an abortion pill that's been approved by the FDA for years.
It's a crisis of democracy and it's a crisis of healthcare.
So we'll take a look at what this means for the future of healthcare.
Live from Southwest Florida, you're watching Fox 4 News at 10.
Thank you so much for staying with us for Fox 4 News at 10 o'clock. I'm Elise Chingari. Well, happening tomorrow, opening statements begin in the trial against the man accused of shooting and killing a Fort Myers police officer back in 2018. So Fox 4 has been following this trial for you against Wisner Desmarais, representing himself in the trial as he faces the death penalty for the killing of Officer Adam Jobber Millers back in 2018. So last week, our Fox 4 cameras were in that courtroom as Desmarais questioned potential jurors, needing guidance from the judge at times. The final 12 were seated by Friday with opening statements, again coming up tomorrow. Both prosecutors and Desmarais laying out their arguments. Of course, Fox 4 will be there with updates both on air and online. We're expected to learn more about the suspect in a barricaded situation coming up tomorrow, as the Lee County Sheriff's Office says they will share more information on their Facebook. Deputies say it started after a call came in late Thursday night for a domestic incident. Responding to the home for a second time Friday morning, well, that's when they say when they arrived, a woman ran out of the home claiming she was held against her will. The sheriff says as the woman was running, a man fired at her, then refused to come outside of the home, leading to a brief standoff as that suspect barricaded himself inside the home. Of course, we'll keep you updated on this case as the sheriff's office releases more details about that investigation. Again, we're told more of those details will be coming out tomorrow. And 3 people, including a child, were shot and killed during a domestic incident that happened in Orlando this morning. This incident did involve officers. Orlando police say the suspect died while police were responding to that scene. The chief of police is saying that the suspect walked out of the home and shot at those officers who returned fire, killing the suspect. One man who was at the scene says it was a pretty tense situation.
And I ran up. They said that my godmom was in the house. I wasn't sure what happened. So I ran up to see what was going on with my godmom, and the next thing I know, I got slammed by the police.
When officers entered the home, they found 3 people with gunshot wounds, including a child, who were all transported to local hospital by officers. Police said all 3 people have since died. The officers who shot the suspect have been placed on paid administrative leave, and the Florida Department of Law Enforcement will conduct an independent review of the incident, followed by the state attorney's office. Well, across the country tonight, people are watching the state of abortion access after dueling decisions from judges leave access to an abortion pill, well, up in the air. On Friday, a district judge in Texas suspended federal approval of the drug mifepristone, the first pill in a 2-pill regimen used to terminate a pregnancy within the first 10 weeks. The ruling would essentially make all sales of the drug illegal and overrides decades of scientific approval for what has since become the most common form of abortion medication in the United States. But at nearly the same time, another district judge over in Washington state made nearly the opposite ruling, directing authorities in 17 states not to make any changes that would restrict access for that drug.
We're talking about an unprecedented challenge of the FDA's approval process of medications, not just of mifepristone, but it threatens the FDA's authority over medication approval in general. It's a crisis of democracy, and it's a crisis of healthcare.
The confusion from the conflicting decisions could put the final say in the hands of the Supreme Court. Now, tomorrow, the organization Women's March Fort Myers is going to protest the move to try to block abortion access nationwide. And here in Florida, Fox 4 will be covering that protest. We'll bring you more details about that as well as the decision on fox4now.com.
And if you are dealing with some pollen issues, well, Monday, unfortunately, is still going to be in the high side, but with more rain around, pollen levels come down a little bit the rest of the week. I'll break down those rain chances coming up.
Welcome back. Well, tonight the Masters Golf Tournament has named a new champion. Spanish golfer Jon Rahm has won his first career Masters tournament, beating golf legend Phil Mickelson. So this year was a wild competition, with golfer Tiger Woods withdrawing because of an injury in the third round and the massive storm suspending play for 2 days. Rahm says he wasn't deterred, though, and he was astounded by his own wins. Well, let's get right over to Fox 4 meteorologist Andrew Shipley to talk more about this weather. Andrew, I know throughout the day we've been talking about how we really need this rain, and it looks like it's coming this week.
So the pluses and minuses here, because I think the folks that were out in the golf course today probably like, is it really raining out there? But the other nice thing is we got the crunch shot of the grass because we got some good rains earlier today, which is good news. But here tonight, we're just tracking a little bit of light shower activity, just kind of fizzling out there, just basically just across the Henry County line here tonight, and then offshore watching this thunderstorm. So most of the rain here tonight is pretty much tapered off, and looking at partly cloudy skies the rest of the way. 68 degrees going to be that overnight low temperature for you. Now, as for temperatures tomorrow, a little bit more seasonable than we've been. The normal temperature this time of year, 84. That's right where we're forecasting here at Fort Myers, Cape Coral, down in Naples there as well, Marco Island. How about 81 there, Punta Gorda, Arcadia, inland, upper 70s expected, Moorhaven and Lewiston. Winds out of the northeast about 10 and 15, though I do expect gusts up to about 20 miles an hour. It is going to be a rather breezy day for you tomorrow. Also going to be tracking showers, thunderstorms developing into the afternoon. Let me time it out for you here. Here's noontime. Looking okay still, but you are looking at a little bit of shower activity trying to get going here. That's what we'll be watching more and more of as we roll into about 3, 4 o'clock. Mostly right up along the coastline for you, and then becoming a little bit more widespread in towards the evening commute. But you notice once the sun goes down, things start to fizzle out, and they should be done for pretty much the rest of the night. But it does look like models are indicating could pick up as much of an inch of rain up along our coastal communities for you from Punta Gorda all the way down towards Everglades City, which is, again, great news because we do need the rain. And check out the rainfall deficit since the start of the year. With the rain that we had in Punta Gorda today, record-breaking rain, got a good dent in that. That was about 6 inches below normal, now about 4.2 there below normal since the start of the year. But we need anywhere from about 4 or 5 inches rain across the region to really cut into that. And if we can get maybe an inch of rain like again tomorrow, that will help really do that. But looking at 50% chance of rain Monday, 30% chance there Tuesday, shoots back up to about 60% there Thursday. This is going to be with another area that we're watching of low pressure building in the Gulf of Mexico. Now, this is going to lift up to the north towards Louisiana, but it is going to drag a cold front through the area. So really not going to see a major change in temperatures, but that frontal boundary will help it trigger additional shower activity Wednesday, Thursday time frame there, and then we'll start to warm things right back up as we head into next weekend. Check out the 7-day forecast. You see that again, those near normal temperatures Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, even Thursday with those showers and storms around. And then as we get into the weekend, right back up near 90 degrees.
Your time is 10:55. We want to look at your top stories tonight. So a brush fire is still burning off of I-75 as the Florida Forest Service says they're working to keep containing that 25-acre brush fire. It broke out yesterday as we first reported to you. Now that fire caused the highway to shut down for hours and impacted at least 3 homes. It's currently 90% contained. And tonight people headed over to Dunbar to celebrate Easter together as the annual Easter parade brought huge crowds and plenty of floats and candy along with it. The event has been going on for years. So it started back in 1945. The parade ran from 3 to around 5 o'clock today. And then there was that festival that followed till about 8 p.m. This is again an annual event free to the public. So if you missed this year's parade, well, guess what? You can always catch next year's, the big 80th. So we'll see what that has in store for all of us. Fox 4 will have more top stories for you coming up on Fox 4 News at 11 o'clock. Andrew Shipley and I will see you then in the next few minutes. Stay with us.
Live from Southwest Florida, you're watching Fox 4 News at 11.
Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us for Fox 4 News at 11 o'clock on this Easter Sunday. I'm Elise Chingari. Right now, we want to give you a live look right there from the top of the Luminary Hotel overlooking the Caloosahatchee River. We're trying to get a look at the conditions. Obviously, it looks like a pretty clear night tonight. Andrew, I know a lot of people were celebrating Easter. People were trying to celebrate outside. There was a lot of those dark clouds, so people were a little bit nervous of that rain, but it turned out to be a pretty nice day today.
For some of us, others, well, it just depended where you're at. Some of us had to get the rain gear out. If you're upstate Charlotte County, where they did have that record rainfall earlier today, other places wasn't too bad. You just got a light little sprinkle. But here tonight, just watching this thunderstorm off the shoreline here. There's Sanibel, so just offshore there. If you're looking off towards the Gulf, probably see a few rumbles out there. But other than that, pretty quiet here tonight. But the further south, you get a lot of rain down along Alligator Alley. We had about 3.5 inches worth of rain down there. there. But here, Fort Myers, we're talking just a couple hundredths to a couple tenths of an inch, not much. But you got towards the Port Charlotte, Punta Gorda area, that got their fair share of rain, over 2 inches of rain localized there. So obviously that will help in the latest soil moisture conditions. We're going to get those new numbers tomorrow. But Lee County still heading into today was extremely dry. The rest of it's critically dry. So Collier County is starting to improve, which is obviously a good sign of things. And we're going to be looking at more rain chances on the way for us tomorrow afternoon there as well, looking at peaking right around 5 o'clock. So do watch for that. I'll break it all down for you coming up in just a few minutes.
Thank you so much, Andrew. So tonight we want to give you a live look. We continue to follow along this brush fire that's still burning off of I-75. The Florida Forest Service says they're working to contain the 25-acre brush fire. We first reported this to you yesterday as that fire caused the highway to shut down for hours. It didn't open up till late last night. That visibility is a little bit better tonight, though, and it's at least impacted 3 homes that we know of. And Fox 4 spoke with people throughout the area affected by those fires, to people rushing home to make sure their homes were, of course, okay, to others asked to evacuate by authorities. Take a listen.
Luckily, I was able to get home safely here through all the traffic to try to protect my home.
We had a knock on the door about an hour ago, and they said that they're evacuating all the houses on our road because of a brush fire.
Well, he woke me up and I was startled and confused, and I said, well, what information do you have? And he said, I don't have any. They said, just leave. So we came out and there was smoke everywhere.
We're seeing a lot of traffic, a lot of emergency vehicles. We've seen 2 helicopters bring in bags that filling up from the pond and then dumping over and over again.
I've been living in Florida my whole life. I've seen brush fires, never seen anything like this before.
As you just saw, all of that backed up traffic, the road there didn't open up till late last night. Crews continue to work around the clock to contain that fire, but also to get people to safety as the fire crept towards their homes.
Hey, I'll come back for him. Come on.
You can see just how scary the situation was for many neighbors there. At this time, the Florida Forest Service says the fire is 90% contained. It's estimated to be around 25 acres in size, and that cause is still unknown, but you can trust that Fox 4 will continue to follow this up and give you more updates as we have them from authorities. Now, meanwhile, we here at Fox 4 continue to stay on top of another fire over in Collier County, where the brush fire in the Big Cypress National Preserve is now covering 9,742 acres. This is a look at the fire. This is what's being called the Cypress Camp Trail Fire. So although it's grown over the weekend, fire crews now say the fire is 67% contained. Officials say you should expect to see smoke throughout that area while traveling along I-75. FHP reminding you tonight that you need to be cautious as you drive through that area with still that smoke throughout the area. Use your low beams, defrosters, and turn signals to prevent any traffic issues throughout that area. And we continue to follow a manhunt that's happening in Florida for a 3rd suspect who authorities say is involved in a murder. So Fox News correspondent CB Cotton has new details about 2 minors who were arrested in connection to that murder of 3 teenage friends in Marion County, Florida.
Investigators hope a cash reward will get people talking so they can arrest the 3rd juvenile suspect in this case. In the meantime, though, we've learned more about what led up to the shooting of these 3 teens from arrest affidavits, which are heavily redacted in some parts. Still, they paint an alarming picture. The suspects and the teens who were killed have been traveling together, committing burglaries and robberies before the suspects turned on the victims. 2 juvenile suspects are already behind bars, a 12 and 17-year-old, both facing first-degree murder charges. According to the court docs, the 12-year-old confessed to shooting one of the teen girls, saying the 17-year-old forced him to do it or, quote, his family would be killed. This all started March 30th after deputies discovered 16-year-old Layla Silvernail shot in the head and dying at a construction site. The sheriff says the attackers drove off in her white white Chevy and just a half a mile away discarded the body of a 17-year-old male victim, shot and killed. The next day, detectives found the Chevy partially submerged in a lake about 9 miles away with the body of a third victim in the trunk, 16-year-old Camille Quarles. The arrest affidavits say text on Quarles' phone revealed she had chosen to stay in the trunk of the car and smoke. State prosecutors are still reviewing whether they'll try the 3 juvenile suspects as adults. The sheriff said this morning if they aren't, it will send the wrong message.
We're sending a clear message to individuals like this that there is no accountability. And unfortunately, and it breaks my heart, it's a 12-year-old involved as well. His life is over. One decision, his life is done, as he knows it.
The sheriff said the gun used in this attack came from car burglaries committed by the suspects. In New York, CB Cotton, Fox News.
Of course, Fox 4 will continue to follow this story. We'll bring you more updates on air and online as we learn more. Now, happening tomorrow, opening statements begin in the trial against the man accused of shooting a Fort Myers police officer and killing him back in 2018. So Fox 4 has been following through for you on this trial against Wisner Desmarais, who's representing himself in the trial, who you see there. And he faces the death penalty for the killing of Officer Adam Jobber Millers back in 2018. So last week, Fox 4 cameras were inside that courtroom as Desmarais questioned potential jurors, needing guidance from the judge at times. Now, the final 12 were seated by Friday with opening statements coming up tomorrow. Both prosecutors and Desmarais laying out their arguments. Of course, you can trust that Fox 4 will be there inside the courtroom with updates both on air and online. And tonight, Fox 4 continues to learn more about a fatal crash that happened over in Hendry County. And it happened at 5 o'clock this morning. As Florida Highway Patrol says, one man was driving on US 27 near Sky Valley Lane when the car drove into a canal and flipped over. The driver was the only one in the car at the time of the crash, and this crash is still under investigation tonight. Well, this week we want to give you a heads up. So we're recognizing people who work as public safety telecommunicators. So this includes dispatchers and, of course, 911 operators. They work 24/7 to make sure first responders get to your calls in time to save lives. National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week started back in 1981, and former President Bill Clinton officially declared the week a National Week of Recognition in 1994. So, of course, if you know an operator or a dispatcher, make sure you give them a big thank you to appreciate them this week. Well, across the nation tonight, the Pentagon is investigating an alleged leak of top secret Ukraine war documents. The documents have been posted on at least 2 social media websites. The White House says that those documents map out American and NATO plans to strengthen Ukraine's military. Our Scripps national congressional correspondent Stephanie Liebergen has more on these documents and the potential fallout.
Hey, good evening. Well, Scripps News hasn't reviewed these documents yet or confirmed their authenticity, but from reports it seems the documents could include information on Ukraine's counter-offensive strategy that's expected later this spring, but it's also possible the documents are part of a Russian disinformation campaign.
Planning documents detailing U.S. and NATO military support in Ukraine have been splashed across social media. Now the Defense Department says it's looking into how the documents labeled top secret were leaked and whether they've been doctored. A defense official tells Scripps News the documents appear to be part of an intelligence assessment from several weeks ago, with little intelligence value. Angela Stent, a senior fellow from the Brookings Institution and an expert on Russia, also noted that some of the information was already public knowledge.
There are a number of details in there about this planned Ukrainian counteroffensive, which may take place in the next few weeks, that apparently were knowable, without having a classified document there.
The New York Times, which broke news of the leaks, reports the documents undercount the number of Russian deaths and overcount the number of Ukrainian deaths. Experts say that indicates the release could be part of a Russian disinformation campaign.
I mean, the Russians have been doing this, for a very long time, and certainly since the beginning of the war. And they're trying to disguise a lot of their failures on the battlefield.
The Pentagon told Scripps News it is reviewing the documents. Stent says identifying the source of the leak should be a top concern for U.S. officials, even if the information appears altered.
They do have to find out how this was leaked, who leaked it, and the extent to which the Russians have managed to penetrate information systems in the United States. I think those are all very serious concerns.
I reached out to Senator Mark Warner's office for a comment. He is the chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee. In response, he told me, quote, "Any leak of classified information is extremely alarming, and I'm glad to see that the Pentagon is investigating this matter. Russia has a long history of disinformation efforts, so Americans should remember to be wary of trusting the information they see online." Warner went on to say, of course, he'll continue to follow the investigation into the leaked documents very closely.
So all of the classified information being leaked could have consequences around the globe. We'll follow the fallout and bring you more updates on air and online as they become available. Well, today people headed over to the Dunbar area to celebrate Easter all together. It was the annual Easter parade, and it brought huge crowds and plenty of floats and, of course, candy along with it. And guess what? It brought out your very own Fox 4 crew. Take a look. So, of course, you'll see there some faces that you recognize on TV, as well as our general manager, our news director. We had such a great time out there. The weather turned out to be wonderful as well. I know we were watching over those clouds to make sure it didn't rain. A lot of you, as you can see right there, excited and happy to see all of that candy getting passed around there. Again, Andrew, this has been taking place for 79 years.
Live from Southwest Florida, you're watching Fox 4 News at 11.
Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us for Fox 4 News at 11 o'clock on this Easter Sunday. I'm Elise Chingari. Right now, we want to give you a live look right there from the top of the Luminary Hotel overlooking the Caloosahatchee River. We're trying to get a look at the conditions. Obviously, it looks like a pretty clear night tonight.
Live from Southwest Florida, you're watching Fox 4 News at 11.
Thank you for staying with us for Fox 4 News at 11 o'clock. I'm Elise Chingari. Tonight, we know 3 people, including a child, were shot and killed during a domestic incident in Orlando this morning. Now, this incident did involve police officers. Orlando police say the suspect died while police were responding to that scene. The chief of police saying that suspect walked out of the house and shot at officers who returned fire, killing the suspect. One man who was at the scene says it was a tense situation.
And I ran up. They said that my godmom was in the house. I wasn't sure what happened. So I ran up to see what was going on with my godmom. And the next thing I know, I got slammed by the police.
When officers entered the home, they found 3 people with gunshot wounds, including a child, who were transported to a local hospital by officers. Police said all 3 people have since died. The officers who shot the suspect has been placed on paid administrative leave, and the Florida Department of Law Enforcement will conduct an independent review of the incident, followed by the state attorney's office. In other Florida news tonight, there's a new amendment to a bill that aims to punish venues that allow children in during certain types of adult live performances. So the sponsor of the bill calls it the Protection of Children bill. Critics dub it the anti-drag show bill. Michelle Quesada with our Scripps station WPTV over in West Palm Beach explains now the new amendment and how it could punish local governments that permit certain events.
Just a few weeks ago, Lake Worth Beach hosted a massive Pride Festival and parade, which was permitted by the city. Local elected officials believe a new amendment to Senate Bill 1438 could threaten the future of events like that. Senate Bill 1438's new amendment would criminally punish the person who issued the permit for any event that exposes children to an adult live performance that includes nudity, sexual conduct, or lewd exposure. Here in Lake Worth Beach, Vice Mayor Christopher McGoy takes issue with the descriptions of the adult live performances that can violate this bill should it become law.
I suspect that there's a fair chance that I would be charged under this thing because I, after checking for approval from Compass, chose to join the parade in drag. Now, I don't know that I would consider I had anything particularly lewd, but it says that if I have lewd exposure of breasts, for instance, or prosthetic or imitation genitals of breasts. Well, I stuffed some paper towels in my shirt. Is that lewd?
McVoy adds there is concern about how this bill might impact future LGBTQ+ festivals, mainly because local governments might be hesitant to issue permits to avoid any chance of a violation. State Senator Clay Yarborough is the sponsor of this bill and proposed the amendment that includes government entities. He was not available to speak with me, but had this to say about the concerns that the bill could impact local festivals. Quote, "The bill does not ban any business or any public entity from hosting any kind of event or performance, including a public parade, unless an entity is planning to admit children to a live event that would include nudity, sexual conduct, or lewd exposure. There should be no cause for distress about the provisions of this bill." That was State Senator Clay Yarborough, and he went on to say that the intent of this bill is to protect children who cannot unsee, unhear, or unexperience the things they are exposed to. The next step in the bill is a third reading.
Tonight, Governor Ron DeSantis is now vowing to levy new tolls and taxes on the House of Mouse. So last night, while speaking at Hillsdale College, Governor Ron DeSantis said legislative action was coming and that hotel taxes and toll roads may be included. That's after the former Reedy Creek Board ceded much of its authority on Disney's special district to company officials. So it happened just before a new state board could take over governance of that area surrounding the Orlando parks. DeSantis doubled down on his warning Friday while the governor was speaking there in Ocala.
There will be additional legislative action taken in Tallahassee that will nullify what they tried to do at the 11th hour, and then potentially, arm the board with the ability, to make sure that this is run appropriately.
So Democrats from the Orlando area have condemned Governor DeSantis' latest round of threats. Representative Anna Eskamani warned new taxes and tolls would be passed on, hurting Disney consumers more than Mickey Mouse. It's unclear if or when a new Disney bill may surface. And now let's head right over to Fox 4 meteorologist Andrew Shipley. Andrew, I know some areas saw a lot of rain today, and it's much needed here in Southwest Florida.
Oh, absolutely needed, and it's nice to see. I mean, I know it doesn't you don't want rain on people's plans on Easter Sunday, but when you get the drought added into that, so that at least alleviates some of that rainfall, I guess, that you got out there. But looking at Punta Gorda, got the record rainfall today, but just about 2.3 inches. About an inch above the record, the old record there in 1984. Check out other rainfall totals today. Charlotte Harbor, just about 1.6, 1.5, give or take there. Lehigh Acres. Lately, about a quarter of an inch, though. Downtown Fort Myers got a couple hundredths of an inch. We'll take what we get. But here tonight, just looking at some shower activity just offshore. Other than that, pretty quiet. We had a little bit of showers just lingering there off towards Hendrick County. That's now continuing to push off to the east. There's that thunderstorm just offshore there. We're continuing to watch, but other than a light show, that's about it for that. But in terms of tonight, partly cloudy skies, 68 degrees here through the overnight hours. How about your Monday afternoon? I'm going at 84 degrees, Fort Myers, Cape Coral there, Naples, 81 there, Punta Gorda, you get inland, 79 there, Moorhaven and Caluist, and a little bit more in line there with typically the temperatures we see this time of year. We've been way above that, as we know so far for the month of April. As for the day itself, Monday should start dry. You get into the afternoon hours, will be breezy out of the east, but we are expecting those showers and storms firing up along the coastline as we get towards the about 3-4 o'clock hour there, and then lingering into the evening commute. There's 6 o'clock, and you see those showers and storms. Once the sun goes down, I think most of this should taper off, and then we should be quiet the rest of the night here. But looking at rainfall totals, about an inch or so up along the coastline there. So again, that much needed rain continues to fall, and this getting more and more into a rainier pattern, at least over this week here, with no complaints as we're starting to see that transition towards rainy season. I think we won't fully dive into rainy season for about another month or so, but we're starting to see the early signs here, which is obviously positive news when we've been so dry, but we still need more. Running anywhere from 4 to 5 inches still below normal in terms of our rainfall, and that even includes the record rainfall today in Punta Gorda. We're going to get some more rain chances this week. And 50% chance for you on your Monday, down 30% Tuesday. Those shoots back up. 50% Wednesday, 60% Thursday, and 50% there on Friday. But those higher rain chances later in the week are because an area of low pressure in the Gulf of Mexico. You see that lifting off to the north there, but we'll be dragging a shield of rain across the region there on Wednesday and Thursday, bringing us another shot of rain and in the forecast. But even beyond that, we're still going to keep some rain chances in the forecast as we head in towards next weekend. Unfortunately, not going to keep these near normal temperatures, though, in the forecast. Check out the 7-day forecast here. We're going to look at about 84 degrees or so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It's right where we're supposed to be, though, right back up to near 90 degrees as we roll in towards Saturday and Sunday next weekend.